Hi guys, thank you for coming and thank you for reconnecting. My name is Ajoy from Nilgiri's restaurant in Cremorne. It's been about 10 years since Nilgiri's has been associated with the Australian Himalayan Foundation, and I still remember they used to have functions in my restaurant in St. Leonard's. This was probably going back maybe 5 or 6 years. Now that I've moved here to Cremorne, this is probably the first time I'm doing something, and thank you to Mr. Corbett that we are reconnecting this way. I've got a fantastic dish for you guys. Kerala style fish. They call it meen moile. Meen is fish, moile is anything to do with Malayalam or Malayalis, or from the land of the coconut on the Malay land. The fish I'm cooking is typical Indian fish made in Australia. The Australian one is called barramundi, the Indian version is called bekti. So they're pretty close cousins. Dish is extremely simple, but when it comes to simplicity, and I mean it in all honesty, there's a lot of ATD, attention to detail. Simple foods taste really good, but simple dishes take a certain process. So if you can follow the process, I'm sure you'll get there. And getting to the taste is a matter of following the process. What you can control is the little things. So it's a little bit of making sure that you add the oil and make sure that the oil comes to a certain temperature before you crackle the mustard, and then you follow a layer upon layer. So folks, let's get into it. Right, so to make meen moile, we obviously need the fish. I've got fresh barramundi, which I try and cut and marinate in coconut cream and turmeric. Keeps it nice and moist. So that's a sign of being moist and fresh. This way you can actually keep the fish for about 2 to 3 days. And that's what we do. To make the sauce, which is the moile sauce, let's start. In the 12 o'clock position, and I use this process of cooking. I have a sequence in which I go. The French call it mise en place. I call it put in place. So we have coconut oil. I'm using organic coconut oil. You can use virgin coconut oil, you can use organic, you can use a combination of both. We then have black mustard seeds, dry red chilies. These are not the bird's eye but a slightly longer version, not very potent. We also have some chopped white onions. I like white onions compared to red because white gives me a lot of moisture, and the more moisture you get, the more flavor you get. Then I have salt. We will add salt to the onions, and I'll talk about this as we cook. We've got some fresh curry leaves, beautiful leaves. We shall crackle them along with the onions. Then we have some freshly ground ginger. We also have ground garlic, fresh garlic. I've got some Aleppi turmeric, which is from the west coast of India, Kerala turmeric. I've got some ground pepper. We also have some fresh green chilies for that extra oomph, which we all like. In the actual recipe, they use fresh tomatoes, but hey, this is my version of the actual recipe, so I'm using tomato puree. Easy to get. I've also got some coconut cream. You can use, there's plenty of creams and milks in the market. I prefer to use the cream instead of the milk. It gives a bit of body to it. And to finish off, I also have some snap fried curry leaves. We then have something called vegetable stock here. This is a stock that we make in-house. Plenty of spices, but more importantly, it has one spice called star anise and cassia, which adds that extra oomph. So let's start. First things first, some fresh coconut oil. About 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. Just around the moderate heat, not too high. But the idea is to get that oil to a stage where the moment you add the mustard seeds, they will crackle, and that can only happen when the temperature is right. So let's wait for the oil to, you can probably smell it coming through. This is music to the nose, that's what I say. Indian food touches all senses. Reduce the heat, bring it down to about the moderate to medium, about 4 to 6 dry red chilies go in. As they go in, they start to open up a little. In with the onions. chopped onions. As soon as the onions go in, just raise the heat a little bit. And to make sure that the onions caramelize, I tend to add salt right in the beginning. This will help bring out the sugar. Fresh curry leaves. Right, waiting for the onions to soften a little bit. Not giving it too much color is the idea, but softening them is the key. Trying to get that crunch out of the onions. That's very important. Right. Reaching the final stages when the oil starts to seep out, the curry leaves start to pop or crackle as they say, and the onions come together, the oil starting to come out on the sides. Bit of caramelization. At this stage, you need to add some ginger. About a teaspoon of ginger, heaped up a little. In with the ginger. Ginger goes in. We cook the ginger till the raw smell of ginger disappears and you sort of get a very candy or sugary ginger flavor coming through. That's when we know that the ginger is cooked. So once that starts to happen, it's a matter of time. Again, the oil starts to seep out from the sides, and as you can smell, the sugar from the ginger comes out. At this stage, we shall add 1 teaspoon heaped of garlic, just a little bit more, only because it's my recipe and I can do what I want. Anyway, folks, as the garlic goes in, you will caramelize the garlic till that raw smell of garlic disappears and you get the smell of caramelized garlic, something like the garlic bread that comes out of the oven. So imagine that. At this stage, we shall add just a little bit of turmeric, not too much. The idea is to bring out the color, not give it any color as such. At this stage, I will add some cracked pepper in with a little bit of fresh green chilies that have been crushed in oil. Then comes the tomato puree. In with the tomato puree. As soon as the puree goes in, reduce the heat. Extremely important. As I say, the ATD part of it is to make sure that the oil comes to the surface at every stage. See the oil coming through. Extremely important, otherwise the dish comes out very heavy. Next comes the coconut cream. And this is there. In fact, we shall add 1 cup of coconut cream. The coconut cream cooks till the cream turns into coconut oil, and that is going to happen now. And the oil starts to surface, and that coconut oil is actually the extra bit of coconut oil coming from the cream. So keep an eye on this, folks. There will be the coconut oil with that extra oomph coming in and the richness coming. Now comes the best part. At this stage, we shall add a little bit of vegetable stock. Right, once it comes to the boil, the idea is not to allow the sauce to boil. Very important. Just a bit of reach that stage. At this stage, we shall add the fish. And as I said, this is local batter from the Northern Territories, a place called Humpty Doo. That's where we get it from. Slow cook this. For about 5 to 7 minutes.